yo YouTube! This is a video for Monday the 4th of March, which was yesterday. It won't be a very long video because I didn't do very much. Let me talk you through my day and the lessons that I learned. So, I hadn't got... On Friday I did bid a couple of jobs for Monday morning, but I didn't get them. So on Monday morning I was starting from fresh, trying to find a job, and I generally find that first thing in the morning I don't tend to win the jobs. A bit later on in the day jobs tend to come up that I do win, so it's not ideal for a working day, but it is a tactic that does work. And I put a few bids on, but I got a job at 10 o'clock picking up from Sleaford at 11 going to Milton Keynes. It was for a medium wheelbase van, 97 loaded miles, and I bid £100 just to get myself on the road. I thought it was a good start just to get out and about, and I thought Milton Keynes would have been a good area to finish up in. So I left the house at 10:10. I'd filled up my AdBlue and put stuff in for a trapping kit. I'd made some sandwiches for the day, so I was all ready. And then I made my way towards Sleaford for my pickup. So when I got to pick up, it was at 10 to 11, and the lady who gave me the job said the job was for 11, and for some reason it got in my head that I had to be there spot on 11. I don't know why, just weird. So I was there at 10 to, and I thought, oh, shall I go in or shall I wait till 11? Because it seemed, just the way she said it, at 11, in a quite a firm way, made me just feel like they wanted me to be there up dead on 11. Anyway, I walked in a few minutes before, like 5 to, and there was I don't know why I was concerned about being 11, just normal pickup, and they led me up. There was a pallet of 5 boxes. On the notes I was given, it said 4 boxes, and I said to the guy, oh, how heavy are these? Are these heavy? Because I was going to pick them up. But he said, but they were quite heavy. And a slight side note, I mentioned in my last video about feeling old. I'm definitely not keen on doing much handballing now. Light handballing, short distances, I'm absolutely fine with. But long distances, even with light stuff, I can't really manage now. And heavy stuff, I can't manage now. I don't trust myself with it. So I stood there while the guy handballed on these 5 parcels, and I was I felt really kind of self-conscious about not helping him. And so the best I could do was I asked him what his name was, and I thanked him for, thanks him. Thanks, I think his name is Sam. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate your help. That's the best I could do. But while I was standing there waiting for him to sign my collection note, I just felt, oh, I don't want to explain that I'm feeling well. I don't want to explain the background. I just want to let go with it. So anyway, it's a bit comfortable for me, but I've realised that there's a limit now to what I can handle, and it's unfortunate because I tend to want to be helpful. So my go-to is just to help out, to sort of be hands-on. But I know I can't do that anymore. I have to be careful with what I'm carrying, and so on this occasion I just stood there, watched him put these things on. I was very thankful. Got to sign my collection note. I strapped them down with 2 straps, double checked that paperwork that was on the notes for the customer, which it was, and then I made my way off site. I don't know what he thought about me not helping. He didn't say anything. They were quite heavy, and he probably thought I could have offered. So it's a toughie. I didn't want to. I mean, the logical explanation is you stand there and you say to someone, I'm not feeling very well. I can't really manage to lift stuff. But I don't think it's anyone's business really to say that, and I don't think it's up to me to necessarily divulge personal information about myself and how I'm feeling to every Tom, Dick and Harry that I'm working with. So I don't feel it's right for me to say that, although that would be the logical thing to do to explain why I'm not helping. But there's a conflict that I have to deal with, and my weapon with that conflict is utter politeness and respect. So that weapon usually works, at least while I'm in the moment with them. When I've gone, he's probably snagging me off to this guys in the office in the warehouse, and fair play to him. I suppose if it makes him feel better to do that, that's fine. I'll let him have that. Anyway, let's get back onto the track. I travelled the 2.5 hours to Milton Keynes. Very easy journey. It was a lovely day yesterday. It was a spring-like day, quite sunny, quite warm. I really felt like winter had passed. We were going into this is definitely the nice time to do this job. And again, I was back on the road after having like a 10-day holiday from it. So I do miss being on the road when I'm not on the road, even if it's only ever a weekend. And that's why I know I love this job, because when I'm not doing it, I miss it. It's not a chore, it's not something that I resent doing. I really like coming to work. Every day is different, every day is a challenge, just to the right level. One says that challenges are good. If you've got a challenge every day that's too much for you, then it's going to be demotivating. If you've got a challenge every day that's too easy for you, that's going to be boring. We all have challenges every day, but whether it's the right level of challenge is the key thing. And this job is the right level of challenge for me. It keeps me interested, and the days go by pretty quickly. So it's unless you do the job, you might not understand what I'm talking about, and it's really, really good. So I got to Milton Keynes and I was offloaded about 1:15, and I was in a pretty good area for work. It was north of the town, and I had access to Bedford, Northampton with the main work, Milton Keynes itself with the main work areas. Luton was kind of within reach, and I suppose even to some extent I'm going to say Rugby, but I'm not sure. A few jobs go for Rugby, but I'm not sure if it would have got them. These are the main places that I get work from, and I bid on jobs from 1:15 until I gave up, because that was the last job I did that day. I could have won work, but I just had a floor to the price I would go to, and my floor was not low enough for the people that were getting jobs. There was plenty of work. I counted it off at the end of the day. I put 35 bids on for that afternoon, and I ended up I stayed for about 2 hours in the same place. I stayed originally in the industrial estates right next to where I'd dropped off, so no miles at all. Then I moved down to I moved off a bit further towards the edge of Milton Keynes. I stayed in a lay-by for a bit, and then I moved to a junction. I'm going to tell you the junction, because if you know the area, you'll know what I mean. It's the junction it's a crossroads at the A50509 and the A428. There's an Apple Green fuel station right on that crossroads, and I went there because it was sort of getting me closer to Wellingborough, which work was coming out of, closer to Northampton as a direct route, and closer to Bedford as a direct route. I was ended up being 20 minutes from Wellingborough and Northampton there, whereas I was sort of half an hour where I was originally. So I was sort of bidding stuff, and my minimum price is £50 for any sort of work. And I put a few £50 bids on, a few £60 bids on, a few longer bids on, but I was getting nothing. And I would have got the work if I'd gone lower in price, but I just didn't feel that was what I wanted to do. So I edged towards Wellingborough, hoping I'd get a job from Wellingborough. I ended up staying for about 20 minutes. I got some fuel from the Apple Green, So I filled up with fuel, and that got a new fuel price for this week. And then I did win a bid for this morning, and the bid that I won reasonably early on was from Corby, picking up from Peterborough, and then going to London. So I had that in the bag for this morning, but I wanted to get work either getting me home or getting me to Corby that afternoon, and in the end I gave up at about 6 o'clock, and I just drove to Corby and tramped outside the pickup point for this morning. The dead miles out of interest between Milton Keynes and Corby was 38 dead miles. So I've included those in my stats, and I included the time where I stopped working, which is 6 o'clock. So here are my stats for that day, and again, not very good. So the average fuel price for this week at the moment is 15.48 pence per mile. I drove 146 miles, 146. I worked for 8 hours. Well, to be fair, half of that was waiting around looking for a job, half of it was actually driving. I earned £100 with one CX job. I spent £22.60 on fuel, which meant that, rounding down, I earned, after expenses, £77 for this day, which just about, not quite, but just about covers my business costs. So I'll finish up the video by saying what I did that night. I tramped outside the pickup place this morning, and the gates were open, and I was so tempted to pop in and say, oh, I'm here now, if you're ready I'll take the stuff off your hands, but if not, I'm here in the morning first thing. But I didn't have the guts to do that because I upset somebody, and I don't know why I didn't do that really. I wish I'd done it now, because if I had done that, I could have then made my way to Peterborough and saved a lot of time this morning if they'd been available. They might not have been available, but at least I would have given myself a chance to have done that. So I didn't even give myself a chance to have that opportunity by not asking, and that's because I'm underconfident about doing it. And I'm hopefully going to remember that for next time and then give it a go. I have in the past gone in early, but not the day before. I think that's what it is. The day before seems a bit too cheeky, but they must know what they've got ready because they put the order in, so maybe it's not too bad. Now I'm thinking about it, it wouldn't have been such a bad idea to have done it, but in the moment I just couldn't do it. Just couldn't bring myself to do it. So anyway, I'll talk about that job on my next video when I do it. The only thing to say about yesterday is I knew that the job for today had to be within a certain amount of time. I have to be home by 3 o'clock today. So this job that I won probably will be my only job, and I'll talk more about that when I do this video for today. So, anything else from yesterday? No, I don't think so. I think that was it, short and sweet. Just thinking if there's anything else I can say about. Yeah, there is actually. I think I'll chip my my little opinion in about CX at the moment. I'm still up to date with the videos of the guys I follow, and they are talking about CX being quiet at the moment, and I think I have to agree. This is my first February, but I was looking at videos last year, and it did seem busy last year. I'm just thinking for myself. I'm not thinking about you really. I'm thinking about myself. If I was in the situation I was in a year ago now, so a year ago, about end of January, just over a year ago, I was thinking about doing this job, and I watched loads of YouTube videos to get an idea as to how to do the job. How do you actually do the job? and it was definitely busier last year. So although I wasn't working last year, I was sort of very mindful about the CX and logistics same-day delivery service generally. And I would say that if I was in the position I was last year now, and I was looking at videos trying to join, I would still do it because for me it was the right thing for me to do. But I know why it's important for me to do this. I knew what position I was in with my work and my finances, and I knew my position I was in with my life stage. So if that was now, I would still do this job. But, and here's the but, I would really struggle starting now. So if I started this March, as opposed to last March, I think I would struggle to get going. I think I would persevere and put the hours in and survive. And I've learned a lot in that year that would have served me well if I'd known it at the start. But for me, it wouldn't have changed my opinion, but it would have made it harder. And who knows, maybe that year delay might have meant it wouldn't have worked for me, for whatever reason. Maybe it would have done still, maybe it would have different experiences. But I think that if you are thinking about starting now, you really need to be clear as to what to expect. And it's only you know what you need to know, really. I'm not one that thinks everyone thinks like me, or everyone thinks that just works the same way as me, or everyone needs the same outcome as me, or puts the same effort in as me. We're all unique as people. So all you can do is decide for yourself, is this the right thing for me to try? And do the best to mitigate the risks that you experience. The risks I would highlight at the moment with the CX system that I perceive, let's say, okay, let me put it this way then. I'm going to use this time to highlight what I see as being the main risks if you do what I do. And what I do is I work just off the CX system as a self-employed same-day courier. I'm trying to get more reliable work, but here are the main risks. The first risk is cash flow. You have to have enough cash to get you through the first couple of months of trading if you're new, and then the ups and downs of a week and the ups and downs of a year. Second problem I would say is the CX system at the moment, and the amount of work available at the moment across the whole industry is quite low, I would say, historically. So there's a lot of drivers and there's not as much work as there used to be. Now it might be that those drivers will end up leaving and then there'll be spaces. There might be that in the future work will increase. But right now, one of the risks is you might join up and not be able to find work. And that depends on where you are based, how far you're prepared to drive, whether you're prepared to tramp out or not, whether you need to get home. It depends on the size of van you've got. It depends on your abilities and your confidence and your experience, which will grow. But that is, if you're brand new, will be something to think about. And it depends on what you expect to get out of it as well. I mean, I do my videos. A slight aside, I do my videos specifically about the money because that's what I wanted to know about. I want to know, what do you actually earn when you do this job? And so if that's important to you, then my videos will be probably quite useful. I give you real world earnings for someone that generally works off the CX from very little knowledge. But I do it a certain way in a certain van. You might not be able to replicate that. You might not want to replicate that. I do tramp out. I like tramping out. So just because I have certain figures that work for me, it might not be able to replicate by you. Maybe you'll do better. But there's a risk there that what you're expecting to earn, you can't earn, at least in the short term. And there are loads of ways in which you can get work for yourself or get more reliable work, the CX is a starting point. But I'm just talking about those people like me who had no information. What are the risks? And I would say those are the two main risks: cash flow and not being able to find a job when you sign up to the CX. It's a lot of money to go out at the start, a lot of money to run your business, and you can't guarantee you're going to get the money in. I suppose that's how I see the main risks, and it all basically comes down at the end of the day to cash flow. If you had loads and loads of money and you did this, you could do it almost as a hobby, couldn't you, without having to earn a living wage. But you need to know how much you need to earn each month to have a comfortable life or to survive. And maybe this job won't provide that. Maybe it will. So is there anything about risks I want to think about? But the CX is a great app, but right now, and the other thing I've kind of become aware of as I've done this job is the CX is not the creme de creme of the jobs. The creme de creme of the jobs gets given to the PAYE drivers, or the owners of a business themselves. If you're an owner of a business, you're going to do the best jobs yourself, and if you don't want to do, you'll give to someone else through CX. And if you're a bigger company and you've got your own drivers, you'll give your best jobs to your own drivers. Why would you give them to some stranger on the CX system? So be really clear, the CX jobs are not all the jobs that exist, and they're not the best jobs. They're pretty much the worst jobs. And because at the moment it's such a high number of drivers and it's an auction site, they can get them sold at very cheap prices, which means you're competing against very cheap prices, which means your income could be affected. So the CX is a great platform for finding work when it's available, but it has its downsides, and those are the two downsides I would say. Other apps, I think, still, in my view, I mean, you can have them. I've got a couple of other apps. For the sake of openness, I use Delivery. I have Delivery app on, but I only ever use it, if I'm honest, I only have it on there because when the Delivery app people need a job, they'll look at who's on there and they'll ring you. If I'm in their area, they'll ring me. I've never been on their jobs. I just can't be bothered. They're too cheap. So I only have that open and on so that they know I'm available, and if they need me, they'll call me. I might go back to, if I've got some spare cash, I'll try the Same Day Courier Network again. I'm not on it at the moment, but it does require a bit of money. I don't have spare cash at the moment. There's no other apps that I would use. Nothing else that I'm aware of that comes close to the CX as a platform for getting work. I think that for me, getting links directly with shippers and sort of trying to be like a trustworthy, reliable driver for shippers is the way I want to go. I just haven't yet found a reliable mechanism of achieving that. I mean, I have got some contacts. It's not that I've got none, but I don't get regular. I'm not on like a regular route for anyone. I've got a name that's reasonably good. If I ring and say I'm available to do work, if there's a job available, then I'll get a job. But I don't get offered work on a regular basis from anyone. I think that might be helpful for me. Anyway, I'm doing alright at the moment. I'm okay for now. I'm coming into a better part of the year. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, I've gone on a bit there. That's my opinion about CX jobs. If you're going to start, I'm not going to say don't start, but you have to be really, really clear about what it is you're trying to achieve and how to achieve it, and be prepared to be flexible. That's something else that I think would help you. And also, I'd say, if you try this and it doesn't work because it's too quiet, then, and you have to do something else, then don't beat yourself up about it. Don't worry about it. Trying and failing is not a problem. Trying this job, not surviving because of the cash flow, going into something else, and then realising it's a great job is in itself a good thing to do, because then maybe in a few years' time, when you've learnt your lessons, come back to it with that knowledge, and maybe you can then, from that in inverted commas failure, learn from it and improve and do better next time. Even if you don't succeed in this and you have to get out of it for a bit, it might not be the end of the line forever. I do think that we should in this country be more accepting of failure and learning, as long as we learn from it, and not be so snobby about people that fail and look down on them. I would say, just on a last point, why should you do this job? In my first few videos, I said, first introductory videos, to why I like this job. I'll just reinforce, it is a great job. Freedom, independence, flexibility. I would pay a lot of money to have that in my working life. And if you feel you don't have those things and you need those things, then this is a job that is worth thinking about. And it's just that right now, maybe it's hard to get started, but it doesn't mean that in the future it won't be better. I think being realistic, there are more downward pressures on logistics in the long term than upward pressures in terms of pricing, but there'll be peaks and flows, and people that are good at the job, I think, will. What I'm hoping is, this will be my last point, what I'm hoping is, because at the moment this is one thing I would say is a flaw, that if people that are in logistics who are employing drivers, be they directly or through platforms like the CX platform, if they could be better at distinguishing between the good drivers and the bad drivers, and stop giving work to the bad drivers, then that would be a massive improvement for everybody. It would get rid of those bad drivers out of the industry because they couldn't afford to run. I'm talking both about the platforms that could, like CX, that could be better at regulating, no, monitoring, it's a better word for it, enforcing their rules, which I don't think they do that well, and shippers that are, good shippers on the face of it, but they will knowingly take on poor drivers and give low quotes because they give low quotes. Now, not all shippers do that, and most shippers, I think, that I've come across would not do that. They would give the lowest price to the best shipper. They would give the job to the best driver, giving the lowest price, and they would ignore the negative feedback. But there are some shippers that are a bit bigger that just go for the cost, and it's them that I'm talking about, that who know they got a bad driver, but will just go for the low cost option. And really, it's as an industry, if we could have upward pressure on pricing, if we did that, things like technology and foreign workers, I'm not nothing against them. People coming to this country to work, absolutely up for that. More drivers, they will lower prices over time. Big companies going out of business and consolidating into less companies will bring the prices down over time. But one way in which we can stabilise prices and push them up a bit is by getting rid of the bad drivers, having better quality drivers on the road, and not having the bad illegal drivers doing this job. And unfortunately, if you want to come into this job at the moment and you want to be professional and legal, you're having to compete against quite a lot of drivers, I think, that are neither professional nor legal, and that's a big problem. But it's quite a hard one. It's not even that hard, but it's not that hard. It's just that the big players don't want to deal with it. It's not a problem to sort out. You could easily sort that problem out if you were a big player. Right, I'm getting a bit ranty now, so stop there. Thank you for listening to my video. Farewell, friends.